Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to JJ's Cryptic Corner. Today, we are going to be discussing the bullish case for crypto. Right out the gate, the number one reason why I don't think that this is the end is that everyone thinks we've topped. Bitcoin danced around $120,000, and it's currently sitting at $111,000. It has consistently traded up well above $100,000 for who knows how long, months, and just because it had a bad day on October 10th, everyone thinks that that was it. So we got a post here, an anonymous post, dating back to 2023, and this guy speculates, based on previous information, that the all-time high was going to fall on October 6th, 2025, and that is so far when Bitcoin's all-time high was. And everyone and their brother now insists that we've topped out. We're going to zero. That reason alone is enough for me to speculate that we're not going to zero. Whenever Bitcoin has topped out, everyone insists that we're going up further. This time it's the opposite, so that leads me to believe that we haven't topped out yet. That's just the way that things always are. No one ever... The masses are always wrong every single time. Number two, Bitcoin versus gold. Bitcoin versus gold. This one just recently came up with gold's historic run. Apparently, in the past, whenever gold tops out, and again, that's not to say that it's a generational top on gold. It could simply retrace for a couple of months, and that money rotates into Bitcoin, and then gold continues higher later. I don't know. I'm not a gold bug. I do know that this is a crazy amount of money that's gone into gold, and based on this information alone, 2020 gold topped out, Bitcoin began its crazy run. 2025, so far gold seems to have been topped out, and Bitcoin is getting ready to potentially rebound. Obviously time will tell. Hindsight is 2020, but it happened in the past. History doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. Next, Fed rate cuts. The 100% win rate insider just opened apparently $277 million in longs on Bitcoin and ETH ahead of Fed rate cuts. I believe this upcoming week is the week that we are allegedly going to be getting Fed rate cuts. So we're looking for that to be a huge bullish signal. And with that, betting markets and all of the tools available to us are pointing towards a Fed rate cut. 98.9% chance. So the odds are pretty high that the Fed is going to cut rates. Is it going to be 25 basis points, 50 basis points? Nobody knows that for sure, but that is incredibly bullish for the markets. Next, we got altcoin ETFs. A slew of altcoin ETFs are pending, and once approved, the floodgates open. That's it. All in Crypto posted, according to Eric Balchunas, we could see over 200 altcoin ETFs reach the market within the next 12 months. In a list created by JSafe, XRP, Solana, HBAR, Avalanche, and Doge are among the most filed assets by firms. The list is huge. This is an enormous list of altcoin ETFs pending approval. So that's a big one as well. Next, Bitcoin in a bull market regularly pulls back typically 30% or more. This is last bull market. 30% pullbacks, this was 2016 to 2018. 30% pullbacks or more are very normal for Bitcoin. Several of them during the run-up. And it does slaughter altcoins, but that does not mean that it's the end. Every single time this thing pulled back 38% here, imagine being the person that sold this wick. You know what I mean? You have to have conviction in your investment. And if you feel like, your life is falling apart, then you might be overexposed, But that doesn't mean that the entire cryptocurrency market's about to be flipped on its head. None of this is financial advice, guys. I'm not a financial advisor. But there's more to be said about the bull case for crypto than the bear case, in my opinion. Having said that, I like to look at both sides, so I'm probably going to do a bear case for crypto video after this. So make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications to see that. The October 10th shakeout that we had, I believe, was 15%. I don't even think it touched 20%, even on the wick. Maybe depending on the exchange that you look at. But alts just fell harder because of leverage and low liquidity on certain exchanges. So that's something that you have to keep in mind for consideration for sure. Next, we got quantitative tightening coming to an end. Fed Chair Powell on ending quantitative tightening. This is a quote from him from his speech on October 14th. One of the primary purposes of a central bank is to provide the monetary foundation for the financial system and the broader economy. The foundation is made of central bank liabilities. Our long-stated plan is to stop balance sheet runoff when reserves are somewhat above the level we judge consistent with ample reserve conditions. We may approach that point in coming months. Some signs have begun to emerge that liquidity conditions are gradually tightening, including a general firming of repo rates, along with more noticeable but temporary pressures on selected dates. The committee's plan lay out a deliberately cautious approach to avoid the kind of money market strains experienced in September 2019 repo crisis. Jerome Powell, Fed Chair speech, October 14, 2025. Quantitative tightening ending also leaves the possibility on the table for quantitative easing beginning, which is literally the money printer. Next, we got a possible $2,000 stimulus from tariffs from President Trump. If that happens, that is like the previous stimulus that was received without the inflation. Because this money is actual revenue that we've received from tariffs, if it's sent out to people as a stimulus, it's literally inflation free, which is huge. So imagine the last stimulus, but tenfold. Also, you have to take into consideration the money supply. Money supply is another big one. Money supply is going crazy. So just by percentage rate, if Bitcoin captures its previous percentage of the money supply, it's going to be so much higher. The money supply is like quadrupled recently. So that's a big one. Next, we've got midterms. Midterms are coming up within the next 12 months. That's going to be huge because whatever side, both sides are going to be vying for your attention, for your vote. But there's obviously one side that wants it more than the other because of their current power hold over the presidency. So they're going to be a little more inclined to maybe, issue stimulus and stuff like that to essentially, quote unquote, buy your vote. And that's huge, insanely bullish. Midterms are always really good for money markets. Next, we got a complete lack of euphoria. The bull market has never ended without euphoria. Euphoria is what I was describing at the first point, where everyone insists that we've topped out, we're going to zero now. That is the opposite of euphoria. Every single time we top out, everyone thinks we're going to go way higher. That's euphoria. That's exactly what the whales need, is euphoria for you to buy their bags. They cannot sell their bags, the size of their bags, without euphoria. So I think that's coming. Ted Pillows posted 4-year cycle might be over now. The reason is no euphoria or blow up top price action similar to last cycles. Also, liquidity is expected to substantially increase in Q4 and Q1 2026. I think Bitcoin might extend the rally in 2026 and could establish itself as a true macro asset. Now, this might be equated to the whole "this time is different" argument, and that argument, in my opinion, is kind of silly because we've only ever relied on the 4-year cycle because it has made sense. It correlates with the timeline. Now, if the 4-year cycle is off by a couple months, backwards or forwards, you still got like 4 chunks of 12-month intervals, which is 4 years. That has worked up to this point. And you could actually see it in this chart as well, the extended cycle diminishing returns situation. The line gets longer and it gets more flat. That perfectly aligns with the extended cycle diminishing returns. That being said, it's going to take longer and we're going to make less money percentage-wise. So the 4-year cycle probably never existed. It just so happened to turn out to be 4 years every single time. every single bull market peak indicator, and you know, indicators come and go, so I understand this one not being so strong, but there's 30 there's 30 bull market top indicators and 0 of them have hit. Hate or not, every single one of these has a red X. None of them have hit. We've got big ones. We've got the AHR 999 index, pi cycle top, Pule multiple, rainbow chart, days of ETF net outflows, ETF to Bitcoin ratio, 2-year moving average multiplier, NVRV Z-score, all of these. None of these have hit. And people are insisting that we've topped out. I don't buy it. I'm sorry. And what the biggest thing I think that blows my mind is everyone used to always preach that the institutions are going to come for your bags. They're going to want your bags. They're going to flush you out. They're going to send the prices lower so that they can accumulate. And then when it seems like that's exactly what's happening, suddenly everyone's freaking out. I'm going to buy the next dip. The next dip comes and everyone's like, I'm not touching that. We're going to 0. Pick a lane. You know what I mean? What do we got next? Oh, a Chinese trade deal. China is the second largest economy on the planet. And Donald Trump is set to meet with President Xi Jinping on October 30th, 2 days before this, monstrous tariff is supposedly going to go live. And they're touting a trade deal. And, they've said, which I'm sure that they've said before, and it's mean nothing. But they have said that talks are going positive. So it seems like we could have a trade deal coming. If we make a trade deal, we confirm a trade deal. If we ink a trade deal with China on October 30th, that is going to be huge for the markets. Even if we don't, if the can gets kicked down the road and Donald Trump leaves this meeting and Xi Jinping leaves this meeting and they both say talks went really well, we're going to push the deadline for this tariff, and we're going to make sure that we ink a deal before then, that will be bullish. As long as the tariff does not happen, that will be insanely bullish. There's also arguments to be made for a trade deal with India. I believe one just happened. That one's been a little bit more wishy-washy, but India is the 5th largest economy on the planet. That's huge. Then we got 401ks being allowed to invest into crypto, and I believe that 401ks are pretty much automated, so a huge slew of capital is set to flood into the cryptocurrency market once this goes live. That's another big one. Then we've got regulatory clarity coming into place. The Clarity Act, the House passed the bill to define the rules, SEC versus CFTC. Moving to the Senate Banking Committee, clarity means institutional money can move. This is the founding layer. We are witnessing the legal and regulatory foundation of the next global financial system being established. Pay attention to the infrastructure, not the noise. Also, huge firms, Crypto.com, Ripple, they're lining up for national trust bank charters with the US OCC. This is the ultimate federal stand for institutional custody fiduciary services. So the institutionalization of cryptocurrency is happening before our eyes. There's too many bullish things. There are too many bullish things. I'm going to count the list. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 things. That's just what I've pointed out here. There's more. There is definitely more. Those are the big prominent ones that I've listed. There are stretch scenarios as well. One of them being peace between Russia and Ukraine, the other one being peace in the Middle East. We know both of those things are very, very far-reaching, so I didn't cover them specifically here because those seem more macro than micro. Whereas all these other things, as soon as they come into play, it's going to be huge, and those seem a lot more viable to come into play. So, all of that being said, I want to read this post from Crypto Seth on X because this is essentially what inspired me to make this video, the bullish case for crypto. Crypto Seth said, "Even I'm scared of my own lines at this point. Bitcoin top is not in yet. We will go higher because whales need euphoria to distribute their bags. They can't take profit with their size without FOMO from retail. Narrative is built by price action. Price moves first and then retail FOMO comes later. They will tell you to buy crypto when they are starting to distribute." This is from November 24th, 2022. I'm assuming that this played out, which is huge. It looks relatively decent, actually. It looks really good. So we'll see what comes of all of this. I think that we have so much higher to go, not only for Bitcoin, but for altcoins. We have not had an alt season at all. Altcoin ETFs alone, I think, are huge. I think that I think Bitcoin just reached its fair valuation. I think it's up only from here. And that's a meme, but sometimes memes come true. Anyways, guys, I appreciate you for sticking around. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications, and I'll see y'all next time.